If you were to go online and look at the various IAQ products, you might be surprised with what you find. Here's what I found out when I did that. I'm going to compare these products in some ways to Secure Air's critical air purification priorities. Remember, they are to use particle control to remove airborne particles from the occupied or living space, that we inactivate or kill harmful pathogens that could impact someone's health, that we will have a capturing capability to hold the contaminants so they don't get released back into the airstream, that we will create no additional harmful byproducts that could impact someone's health, and that we will not negatively impact the performance of the HVAC equipment or air distribution system. To begin with, mechanical filters have been shown to reduce particulates and positively impact the environment from a health point of view. The most difficult particles to capture are actually in the middle of the range of all particles at about 0.3 microns. Strangely to me, it's easier to collect particles that are smaller and larger than 0.3. So let's compare mechanical filters to Secure Air. Do mechanical filters have technology that uses particle control to remove airborne contaminants from the living space? They do not. They wait for particles to get to it, and then to whatever degree of effectiveness they have, they'll remove some of those. Do mechanical filters include a capturing capability? Absolutely they do. Do mechanical filters remove harmful pathogens or kill pathogens from the air? They do not. Do mechanical filters create additional byproducts that could harm someone's health? They do not. And will mechanical filters, as they get dirty, negatively impact the performance of the HVAC equipment? And the answer is they will. That's because as they get dirtier, static pressure goes up. So clear advantages to Secure Air technology in 3 out of the 5 categories. Let's take a look now at gas phase or sorbent air cleaners. This is the charcoal or potassium permanganate filter. Its purpose is to absorb gases and really is not intended as a particle filter. So with that in mind, does it use particle control technology to go out into the space and grab particles and bring them back to the filter to be collected? It does not. It's intended for gas particles only. Does it have a capturing capability? It does for the gases. Does it inactivate pathogens? It does not. Does it create additional byproducts that could negatively impact health? Actually, it could. When a charcoal filter absorbs gases, if it has reached its maximum capacity, it will actually send them back. It's called desorbing. And last, will it negatively impact the performance of the HVAC system? The answer is yes, it will. As it loads, like any other filter, dirt will collect on it, static pressure goes up, and we know the downside of that. Now let's consider electronic air cleaners. EACs use an electrical charging process to create a positive charge on particles that reach the filter. These charged particles then are captured by oppositely charged collectors. When a positive particle gets near a positive collector, it gets repelled toward the negative. When the positive particle gets close to the negative collector, it gets pulled toward it. They're very effective at removing particulates. Let's compare to Secure Air. Does it use particle control to go out into the living space and cause more particles to come back to it? It does not. Does it have a capturing capability? Yes, it does. Does it inactivate harmful pathogens, viruses, and bacteria? It does not. Does it create no additional byproducts? It fails here. It creates ozone, in some cases significant levels of ozone. And will it negatively impact the performance of the HVAC system? It can. If it gets dirty and it's not maintained, both the pre-filter and the cell itself, it could cause an increase in static pressure and cause the negative impact on the equipment. Next, let's consider plasma-based ionizers. These are products that generate ions, and they do that with an electrical charge. That's what the plasma portion is about. These ions attach themselves to existing airborne particles in the space, giving them a charge so that they will attach themselves to other particles, or walls, or furniture, or any other surface. And when they get big enough, the big ones will settle to the floor, some will stick to the walls, Others will be just right and make it back up into the airstream to be collected to whatever degree the filter material will collect. Let's take a look at it compared to secure air. So do we use a particle control technology to remove particles from the space? And we can say yes, we do. That these ions from the ion generator will go out and cause particles to clump. That's known as agglomeration, and that will have an impact on airborne particulates in the space. Does it have a way to capture particles within the product itself? And it does not. It depends on existing filters to do some of that capturing. Will it inactivate harmful pathogens? Proof has been shown in test chambers only that pathogens will be destroyed, but it's only been in a test chamber, not in the living space. Will there be any additional byproducts created that could be harmful to their health? Plasma generation creates ozone. It's 100%, and ASHRAE and EPA and American Lung Association all say any incremental ozone that comes into your home should be avoided. Not a good idea. Will it negatively impact the performance of the HVAC equipment? Since there's no collector, there's no increase in static pressure, so it will not have a problem in that area. So how does ozone get created? Anytime there's an electrical charge, it breaks apart existing molecules of oxygen from O2 into O, or it could take water vapor, H2O, break it apart, or carbon dioxide and break it apart. And those free oxygen molecules then will recombine, and some of them recombine as O3, called ozone. Ozone is relatively unstable, and as an unstable molecule, it will look to stabilize itself by combining with other airborne things. It could create some additional water vapor, H2O, it could make oxygen, O2, carbon dioxide, CO2. It's what some manufacturers call friendly oxidizers. Ultraviolet germicidal lights have been on the market for over 20 years. They have been proven to inactivate mold, mildew, virus, and bacteria as long as certain conditions are met. If the bulb is close enough so the distance is not too great, meaning the intensity of the light is high, and if the exposure time is significant, not just a second or two, but longer, if those two conditions are met, then UVC will cause mold, mildew, virus, and bacteria to stop reproducing. It won't actually kill them, but it will prevent them from making more, and with a short life to begin with, mold or mildew on an evaporator coil, for example, will disappear over a short period of time. Let's compare to secure air. Does it use particle control to remove particles from the occupied space? It does not. Does it have capturing capability? It does not. Does it remove harmful pathogens? It does. Does it create any additional byproducts? It could. Some brands of UV light actually produce ozone. Check that out. Will it not negatively impact the performance of the HVAC equipment? And it will not negatively impact. It'll actually help it if it can keep the coil clean of mold and mildew. Another category is photocatalytic oxidation, or PCO. This is where UV light in a device is interacting with a catalyst to create hydroxide ions. And these ions then attack larger carbon-based molecules, then break them apart at the chemical bonding level and turn them into carbon dioxide in water. So it breaks apart harmful things into something that is harmless. This has all been validated in a test chamber, but there's no data that shows if this in fact happens in the living space. This is an uncontrolled process. One example of the risks with an uncontrolled process is this technology could produce H2O2 or hydrogen peroxide. Good if you're cleaning a wound, but certainly not something you'd want to breathe. And also studies have shown that this type of technology will produce formaldehyde, something that we all know would be a dangerous byproduct. So how do they compare with Secure Air? It does not use particle technology to remove particles from the space, but it will help with breaking down gases. It does not have a capturing capability. It is not proven to inactivate harmful pathogens in the living space. It is in a test chamber. We know that it will create ozone or formaldehyde, while others are not known yet. And it will not negatively impact the performance of the HVAC equipment. So that is not a negative. So as we've seen, and to reinforce this position that's taken very strongly by ASHRAE, EPA, and American Lung Association, ozone is deemed to be hazardous to our health. And any process that uses electricity to generate ions is going to create ozone. And it is established that ozone can be dangerous and damage the lung tissue, increase respiratory symptoms, cause asthma, and other problems. There are ozone generators sold as an IAQ product, believe it or not. And if you look at their websites, they tell a compelling story. However, EPA states clearly, as we've mentioned several times, that ozone can be harmful to your health, and any device that produces ozone in the home should be avoided. The last product to take a look at are negative ion generators. There are products that actually produce them, and they can do it in a safe way without plasma technology. Negative ions are naturally occurring. If you've been in the mountains or in the waterfall, or if you just got up from your desk and walked outside and you felt relieved and refreshed and even exhilarated, it were ions that was creating that positive, healthful benefit. Ions actually get into the bloodstream and they impact us from a physiological and mental point of view. It's been established through university studies that negative ion generators will have a positive impact on people's health. In staying true to our commitment not to produce a byproduct that will be harmful to health, you'll be happy to know that Secure Air produces negative ions that will actually improve the way you feel and improve your health while you're in your home. So let's double check now. These were the critical priorities. We use particle control technology to remove particles from the occupied space. We will kill pathogens that can cause issues with our health. We will capture them and not allow anything to get back into the airstream. We create no byproducts that could impact health negatively. In fact, we do create things that can make you feel better, and we will not negatively impact the performance of the HVAC system. I hope this has been useful. And remember that Secure Air is committed to providing a whole house air quality solution that will enhance the health and wellness for all persons in your home.